It is 8:41 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time this Friday, the 5th of September 2025, and this is episode 1162 of Bitcoin. And we're going to talk a little bit about Figma. Figma's big boss said something that caused some problems. There seems to be some conceptual problems in the market between those people that have Bitcoin on their balance sheet and those people who have Bitcoin on their balance sheet but don't talk about having Bitcoin on their balance sheet. I know it's confusing. I promise I will clear it up when we get all over the news, because that's why you're here. It's all the Bitcoin news that you can use. We've even got a CBDC debate returning to the United States Congress. I thought we cleared that all up. I guess we didn't. And Justin's son begs Trump. Begs him like a dog. Why? I don't think Justin's son saw what happened to him coming. Let's just say that. And then we got some unemployment numbers that came out, which will lead us directly into the markets. And when we go over all of the numbers, and the ECB, their pitch to about the digital euro, it may actually start to be falling. That doesn't even make sense. Their plea about a renewed digital euro pitch seems to be falling on deaf ears. Let's hope so. Oh yeah, I guess I should have put that story up too. Hold on for a sec. Hold on, let me get through the rest of this. The SEC watchdog, or rather un-SEC watchdog, is looking into why an entire year of Gary Gensler's texts when he was chairman of the SEC have mysteriously vanished. They're just gone. Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure the dog in the burning room is going to be just fine. But Coinbase, yesterday, I talked about them and their AI coding. Yeah, that may not go as well as they think it's going to go, because already there seems to be some trouble brewing on the horizon. And we will end the show and the week with a word of warning for those of you who absolutely refuse to stop talking in public about crypto and how much they own and whether or not they're Bitcoiners. And you can tell because they're wearing the big orange Bitcoin thing and blah, blah. Stop wearing swag. It's going to get you into trouble. Okay, so first, Sora Ventures, Sora, S-O-R-A, has launched Asia's first Bitcoin treasury fund. And it plans to buy, let me repeat that, it plans to buy $1 billion in Bitcoin within 6 months. That is all I'm going to read to you from Nick out of Bitcoin Magazine, because it's all BS. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, but this Bitcoin treasury and crypto treasury and digital asset treasury stuff is gone. At this point, it's not good for Bitcoin. I'm just saying it right now. At this point, it is not good for Bitcoin. Not because some of this Bitcoin is going to be locked away by, and owned by these so-called treasury companies. No, I'm talking it's not good for Bitcoin. It's perception. It's not good for the public perception of Bitcoin. This isn't good anymore. It used to be when it was just strategy and Metaplanet and Similar Scientific. Yeah, sure, it was going to be fine. But now all it is right now is failing companies. And I don't know if Sora Ventures is I don't know anything about them. I don't know if they're a failing like real estate company like Metaplanet used to be. I don't know if they're brand new and they're being put together just to be a Bitcoin treasury company. And I don't care. I really, at this point, I don't care, because I've got enough evidence that says that one of two things occurs. Either your company sucks so bad that your only Hail Mary left is to scrounge together whatever cash you can get, buy Bitcoin as much as you can, put it on your balance sheet, then drop a press release to the world that says, hey, we're now a Bitcoin treasury company. Oh, by the way, we're going to print up preferred shares at, 5% interest, and you'll have a warrant to be able to convert them into common stock later on. Or you are just walking around on the street like the guy in like Schindler in the movie Schindler's List. He was like a nobody. He pawned a watch. He gathered up all the cash that he could possibly have. He put together some gift baskets for like the high ups in the Nazi party. Hornswoggled his way into this huge party where all these gift baskets were given or whatever, and it was marketing. Schindler was just, I mean, yes, I now know at this point that Schindler didn't really exist, but the point is that it's at first he started it off as just being a grifter, right? That's what these new companies are doing, I believe. Now, am I singling out Jack Maller's company? No, because Jack Maller's and what they're doing over at 21, while it may be the same insofar that it's a brand new company and they have bought Bitcoin and they are being a Bitcoin treasury company first and foremost, Jack's got revenue generation on the other end with a couple of other companies. All right, he knows how to actually make the money. Right? That's not where my concern lies. I know nothing about Sora Ventures, and I know nothing about the 10 other brand new companies that just popped up for being Bitcoin treasury companies. All I know about them is that they came out of nowhere. They said they were going to start buying Bitcoin. They bought a little bit of Bitcoin. Then they started printing preferred shares. And this is where it becomes really bad for Bitcoin, because even the NASDAQ just dropped a bomb yesterday. And I don't have it today, but they dropped a bomb yesterday that they are going to, or they have already started to insert language into their platform that curtails what you can actually print shares of your company for. It's going to be interesting. In fact, you saw there was at least one company almost dropped double digits because of this news coming out, and I can't remember who it was, but because they were a Bitcoin treasury company, they were doing the Saylor playbook, they were printing preferred shares, they were selling it, they were buying more Bitcoin, blah, 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 blah. And the NASDAQ just said, like the meme with the dude in the silver mask, hold up, companies. The NASDAQ is speaking. And somebody's putting the kibosh on this. So it's going to be an interesting next few weeks. I can almost guarantee it. But who cares if Sora Ventures is going to buy or plan to buy $1 billion worth of Bitcoin? Dude, money talks, bullshit walks. Either buy it or get off the pot. I don't care. But let's get over to Figma. Oh, no, before we do Figma, if you did not hear, the Deputy Prime Minister of the United Kingdom resigned this morning. At least this morning for me. I guess it would be, afternoon for you British people over there in the UK across the pond. Yeah. So it looks like there's some real problems with the Labour Party brewing. I've talked to a couple of Brits on Nostr about it, and they think it's not really going to amount to anything. And even if the parliament was dissolved by King Charles and a new parliament was elected and a fresh prime minister stepped in, that it would be literally same boss, new boss, same as the old boss. So it's really too bad. My heart is really breaking for my brethren over there in the UK. If you're not following Jeremy Clarkson from the Clarkson Farms Twitter account, man, I mean his accounts, and he's just focused on farming at this point, farming and land, because they go hand in hand. And what they're subjected to on a daily basis is just frightening, just absolutely frightening. He's looking square in the face of just having land taken from him and every other farmer around him in the UK. It's just sad. So God bless you guys over there in the UK. Let's get over here to Matt DeSalvo and Decrypt. Figma's shares slide following the earnings call as the company says it is not a Bitcoin treasury. The head honcho said that they were not a Bitcoin treasury. Why do I absolutely love this person? You're gonna find out. Software giant Figma's shares plunged Thursday after it published its first quarterly report as a publicly traded company, with its chief executive officer claiming he wasn't trying to be strategy boss Michael Saylor with regard to its Bitcoin holdings. And yes, this is me talking, Figma has a substantial stash of Bitcoin. Now here's the rub here, man. NASDAQ data shows that Figma was down nearly 20% Thursday afternoon, just 1 hour ahead of the closing bell, with shares priced at just over $54. Shares reached a high of $122 at the beginning of August, just days after the company went public on the New York Stock Exchange. The drop came after earnings on Wednesday showed that the company's revenue grew. Not only did it grow, but it grew by 41% year over year to just under one quarter of $1 billion. So $249 million. And that was even slightly higher than expected. But they lost 20%. Now here's what happens when public perception and public psychology in the markets comes over to play. Adjusted operating income for 2025 is expected to be $88 million to $98 million, compared with an average projection of $88 million, the firm said. The company said in July that it had been holding onto a multi-million-dollar Bitcoin investment for more than a year via a Bitcoin ETF. So they don't have actual Bitcoin. They've got an IOU, but at the time, that value was close to $70 million. But in an interview with CNBC, the software firm said that it wasn't trying to be like Strategy, which is now the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin. Quote, "This is not a Bitcoin holding company. It is a design company," CEO Dylan Field said. Now, I'm pausing here to say this person has their head screwed on straight. They know exactly what they are. They know exactly what they're not going to try to be. That means that this company, this Figma, they have solid leadership. Unlike some of these Bitcoin treasury companies that are coming up and Hail Marying all over the place, this person, this Dylan, this is a CEO that actually understands what being a CEO of a company means. Continuing on, Figma has bought Bitcoin as a diversified hedge rather than following in the footsteps of Bitcoin treasury companies that buy and hold the crypto to pump their stock. Still, the software giant said that it would buy more Bitcoin back in July, and a Wednesday filing with the SEC showed that it had nearly $91 million in the cryptocurrency. No, just say in Bitcoin, decrypt, please. Founded in 2012, Figma began as a browser-based interface design tool and has grown into a widely used platform for cross-functional product teams. That's the article. What did it tell us? It tells us it's got solid leadership. They have not only solid earnings, but a huge gain in earnings, and even coming in above expectations of earnings, and simply because the CEO, who has his head screwed on straight and tight, got all his shit together, said that they weren't a Bitcoin treasury company. That's public perception in the markets jacking with the price. When people look at charts and you think that there's some kind of technical analysis, do you know what you're really analyzing? Whether it's Bitcoin or gold or I don't know, strategy stock or even Microsoft. Do you know what you're really looking at when you're doing technical analysis or you're looking at charts? You're looking at collective psychology of a mass of people. You're not looking at actual numbers. You're looking at something that is not numbers. Sorry about that. My cat decided to crawl into a paper bag that was on the floor. You'll please excuse me. Sorry about that. The measurement isn't about price. It's about psychology. It's not as much about timescales as it is about the way populations of people, human beings, think about what's going on in the market. For anybody who's out there trading anything that you can chart that has a market that you can buy and sell of, and you're not thinking that what you're doing is measuring the psychology of massive amounts of people that are alive today on this planet, then you have no business being in the market. And that's that. I've told that to a trader before, and that trader just laughed at me. And I don't blame him. I mean, it's kind of psychotic when you think about it, but I'm right. I'm just going to leave it right there. Let's talk about the CBDC for the United States, because I thought, I was under the impression, rather, that we had dismissed this, that there's language in all kinds of stuff that said, no, we're not going to be doing this. So let's get a little bit more detail here from Savannah Fortis out of Cointelegraph. CBDC debate continues in U.S. as the Congress returns from its recess. As U.S. lawmakers return from the August recess, the debate over central bank digital currency is, God forbid, once again at the forefront of crypto policy. In the latest episode, I'm sorry, I accidentally pulled a was it Ron, was it? What's his name? Was that movie? I don't care. I accidentally read something I shouldn't have read. Supporters of the measure argue that a CBDC would endanger civil liberties by giving the government unprecedented access to their financial data. Representative Tom Emmer, who sponsored the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act, which was passed by the House in July, warned, quote, "It is government-controlled, programmable money that, if designed without the privacy protections of cash, could give the federal government the ability to surveil and restrict Americans' transactions and monitor every aspect of our daily lives," end quote. Pause. Why do you think it would just be the United States government that would have access to that data? Anything's hackable. What would happen if a government that was not so fond of us found out exactly the patterns of what we were doing as a population in the United States financially? Or, well, I don't even have to go there. I don't even have to go tinfoil hat. What if a small Eastern European country decided to hack that financial data and use it as market analysis to figure out what products United States citizenry would be most likely to buy from this small podunk Eastern European country? Why is Tom Emmer only centered on the fact that the United States government is I'm going to say it, is evil and therefore will do all these things, when what we really should be saying is that the United States government is incompetent and will lose that data, and not only might they do nefarious things with it against their own people, I would be more worried about China, Russia, India, any number of Central African countries, Latin American countries, hell, even Canada. And let's just say it, Australia and New Zealand, because those guys are obviously evil. You get what I'm saying? Let's continue. Policy experts suggest that particular framing oversimplifies the issue. The Federal Reserve has repeatedly said that it will not launch a CBDC without explicit authorization from Congress, and any potential design could incorporate privacy safeguards. Spoiler, they won't. Quote, "You can design a CBDC that has significant blockers and protects privacy. You can design a CBDC that is fully transparent and has zero privacy blockers. And these are design choices," Warren said. Warren. Let's talk about Elizabeth Warren? Did I skip something? I don't know who this Warren person is. I'm going to presume that it's Elizabeth Warren that said that. Quote, "Right now, this idea that a CBDC is some urgent threat to American privacy, I just don't see it. A lot of the current posture is rhetorical and political in nature." Yeah, it sounds like something Elizabeth Warren would say. But the U.S. position also stands in contrast to other major economies. China has already rolled out its version of a CBDC, while the European Union and India are running pilots. Quote, "What you are seeing now is actually quite a significant divergence from the U.S. from a lot of other major economies. The United States, under this administration and this Congress, has taken a very anti-CBDC stance," Warren said. Again, I wish I knew exactly what Warren they were talking about. She distinguishes, we're centering in, so now we know she's female. She distinguishes between wholesale CBDC, which are used for interbank settlements, and retail CBDCs, which could be consumer facing. In the US, I've never thought that a retail CBDC was actually going to happen. Wholesale makes sense. Retail does not, she said. Instead, the growth of the stablecoins may make the CBDC question less relevant. Congress recently passed the Genius Act, giving stablecoins a regulatory framework that could accelerate adoption. Warren questioned, quote, "Now that we have stablecoins, they're going to expand and become what I've called the jet fuel of the digital economy. That changes the calculus on whether CBDCs are even necessary," end quote. While lawmakers remain fixated on the CBDC fight, some warned that more immediate threats to privacy are being overlooked. Quote, "Far bigger threats to my privacy are what's happening with my data, what I'm giving willingly, what most of us are giving to AI," Warren said. Continuing, she says, "For example, GMC was selling individual driver data. I find that far more frightening," end quote. Yeah, you would. Listen to the full, oh God, I did it again. Okay, y'all can make fun of me over on nostr. I'm good with it. What is this? Oh, Sheila Warren. Okay. CEO of the Project Liberty Institute. That's the Warren that we were talking about. Okay, so not Elizabeth Warren. All right, so I finally figured that one out. Give me a break, guys. It's really early in the morning for me. Okay, so Justin's son, he begs, he pleads, he cries to the sky, "I am innocent." Justin's son calls for World Liberty Financial to unfreeze his WLFI tokens. Yeah, Trump froze his coins. Well, I don't know if it was Trump, but it is World Liberty Financial. They are tokens, and Justin's son bought a lot of them, and now they're frozen. So Tron founder and early World Liberty Financial investor, yeah, he was there at the very ground zero. Justin's son was ground zero. He took to X early on Friday morning to plead his innocence to the Trump family-backed DeFi project, requesting that it release his tokens following a blacklisting of his address on Thursday. Pause. Do you see what's problematic already here? I'm just pausing just a little bit just so that you can think about it. Do you see the issue? Not your keys, not your coins. Quote, "I have contributed not only capital, but also my trust and support for the future of this project. My goal has always been to grow alongside the team and community and to jointly build a strong and healthy WLF ecosystem. However, during the course of operations, my tokens were unreasonably frozen," Sun wrote. He added that he had bought WLFI in the same way as anyone else and, quote, "deserves the same rights," calling the tokens sacred and inviolable. Well, no, they're not inviolable there, Justin. You just found out that they are very, very violable, and they are not sacred. Dude, really sacred? It's not a prayer. It's a shitcoin. These people. Anyway, part of what makes blockchain stronger and more fair than traditional finance, he completes his thought. Quote, "I call on the team to respect these principles, unlock my tokens, and let's move forward together towards the success of World Liberty Financial. I believe that a truly great financial brand, saying it one more time, financial brand, must be built on fairness, transparency, and trust, not on unilateral actions that freeze investor assets. Such measures not only violate the legitimate rights of investors, but also risk damaging broader confidence in World Liberty Financial," end quote. Responding to Nansen CEO Alex Svazvik's post on the nuance of the situation, Sun declared, quote, "I am innocent. I am not a crook." Going back, the WLFI token contract blacklisted an address linked to Sun on Thursday afternoon, effectively freezing WLFI at the address and revoking his ability to send or receive the tokens and participate in governance. One more time for the kids in the back, not your keys, not your coins. World Liberty Financial has yet to publicly comment on the blacklisting and has not returned a request for comment from the block regarding this situation. Oh my God. It's therefore unclear exactly why the freezing took place. We shall now refer to this as the freezing. However, it did come within hours of the Justin Sun labeled address sending 50 million WLFI worth around $9 million US to an address that an HTX hot wallet labeled wallet sent zero point 0.2 Ether to just before Sun's transfer, according to Arkham. I don't think that matters. Sun is strongly linked to the crypto exchange and is a member of HTX's global advisory board. The 50 million WLFI were subsequently transferred again on Friday morning, routing via an unlabeled address before arriving at the same HTX hot wallet. Some 60 million WLFI or $11.1 million were later sent from the hot wallet onto the HTX Gnosis safe proxy address before, or as according to Arkham's dashboard. Quote, I think it's totally fair that your tokens were locked. You probably had a verbal agreement with the Trumps not to sell your tokens, one community member alleged, demonstrating broader frustration, though Sun's transfer did not mean that the tokens were necessarily sold. The crypto community also noted that on Thursday, HTX address HTX48, the very same hot wallet address identified by Arkham, had also transferred approximately 60 million WLFI tokens to a Binance deposit address over the prior 2 days amid accusations of selling. This came during a period of substantial exchange deposit flow more generally, including via BitGo and Flowdesk, according to Nansen, with the volume spike creating extreme sell pressure. Quote, a Binance deposit wallet connected to Justin Sun received over 60 million WLFI token worth $12 million yesterday from HTX, Coinbase executive Connor Grogan said on Thursday. Quote, the 60 million WLFI deposit represents about 52.6% of HTX's total WLFI holdings at present. From what I can find on chain, based on HTX's public wallets, Arkham has also tentatively linked the Binance deposit address to Justin Sun himself. Quote, our address only carries out a few general exchange deposit tests with very small amounts, followed by an address dispersion, Sun said in response to the allegations. Quote, no buying nor selling was involved, so it could not possibly have any impact on the market. Of course, the simple transfer of funds from large crypto token holders can often spook the market. Yeah, you think? You think? Dude, it's psychology, man. People are twitchy, and they make bad decisions on almost no data whatsoever. Well, oh well. World Liberty Financial's native token started trading on crypto exchanges on Monday, and WLFI plunged by around 24% at one point on Thursday, though the majority of that move was ahead of Sun's transfer. It subsequently recovered slightly and is currently trading for just under 20 United States pennies, so 19 cents, really. Sun has been one of the biggest supporters of both World Liberty Financial and Trump's meme coin. The crypto billionaire was named an advisor to the DeFi project and bought $75 million worth of WLFI tokens. He also committed to buy $100 million worth of the President Trump meme coin. In January, World Liberty Financial bought millions of dollars worth of Tron's TRX token. So that's the end of the article, but is there bad blood brewing? I don't know, man. Bad blood brewing could be. It's all shitcoinery. I understand that. However, two things are of critical importance here. Not your keys, not your coins. And no, this shit is not sacred. And stuff like this is clearly violable. It can be violated very easily. And it also shows what happens if we allow this type of structure to enter into general currency, like the currency that we use. I mean, if they take away cash from the United States and the rest of the West and pretty much most of the world at that point, it's all of these wallets are going to be this way. They'll be able to, you say something bad on social media in the UK, not only will you get arrested, you won't be able to spend any money at all, and you won't be allowed to get paid. They'll freeze deposits on your account. So even if you go back to, you get out of jail, you go back to work, You get some money from doing your job and they try to deposit it in your account. Nope, it's just going to bounce right back because they'll be able to shut off the input and the output. There is no reason anybody at this point in human history needs to trust anybody in power at all, because it's always abused, and we always find out that the people with that power might as well be gangsters. They might as well be mafia. They might as well be the mob. I don't know. Are you ready for something tasty? GreatGhee, GreatGhee.com. Go get yourself some ghee. What is it? It's butter. Only better. It's great, man. I love this stuff. Ghee, or clarified butter, is made by simmering butter to remove water, milk solids, and impurities, leaving behind a golden, lactose-free oil with a nutty flavor and high smoke point. And unlike regular butter, ghee is shelf-stable and versatile for cooking, baking, or even skincare. Shelf-stable means you don't need to refrigerate it. You can just keep it on the shelf. Making ghee is a way to preserve butter. And GreatGhee at GreatGhee.com makes the best Bitcoin for sale in Bitcoin product. It's like all the rest of my Circle P vendors, man. I love this guy. I love his product, and he only takes Bitcoin for it. He's stated that that's a kind of a hard thing to do, but conviction rules in this space. And you want to talk about somebody with conviction, ladies and gentlemen, GreatGhee is your guy. Go to GreatGhee.com, use the code BitcoinAnd in the coupon code so that GreatGhee knows that I made a sale for him. And then GreatGhee will be able to determine how much that sale was worth to him. And then he can determine whether or not he wants to pay me for it. It's probably the crappiest advertising model ever, but hey, we've got to figure out value for value. And buddy, I'm doing my part. The United States added a measly 22,000 jobs in August as unemployment rate has risen to 4.3%. James Van Straten and Stefan Alfer writing this one from CoinDesk. The employment situation in the U.S. continued to show softness last month, like sealing the deal for a rate cut at the Federal Reserve's upcoming meeting in mid-September. Non-farm payrolls, I skipped over that. I really did. Likely sealing the deal for a rate cut. Really? Is it likely? Do you know that? Because I'm not getting that feeling. I mean, sure, it would increase the odds that Jerome Powell might, moreover, consider a rate cut, but I don't think the word likely has any business being in this particular story's vocabulary. Capiche? Non-farm payrolls rose by 22,000 in August, according to Bureau of Labor Statistics report. That was shy of economist forecast for 75,000. So yeah, they missed their mark bigly. In July's 79,000, which was revised from an originally reported 73,000. This is all alongside July's 6,000 job upward revision. June's numbers was revised lower by 27,000 to a negative 13,000 in what would have been the first negative monthly jobs print since the COVID lockdowns of 2020. Did you hear that? The month of June, the jobs number was revised down to negative. We lost 13,000 jobs and added nothing. So we only lost negative 13 in June. Let's see, what would that have been? They were saying that we would have had 14,000 jobs. So the June report, when it came out, said we added 14,000 jobs. No. We actually lost 13,000. We lost 13,000 jobs. And they knew this is BS. They knew, and they didn't tell us because that would have shocked the market. See, but the revision, nobody cares about these revised numbers. That never. I mean, sure, it makes the news, but the way that it's always presented by the talking heads on the news is that it's nothing to worry about. You're never going to see bad numbers ever come out in the news. You will only see them in the revisions. That's just sad. Let's run the numbers. Woo doggy, man. The energy markets do not like the jobs numbers either, I guess, because West Texas Intermediate is down over 3 full points, back down to 61.54. Brent North Sea down 2.7 to 65.15. Natural gas down 0.8% to just over $3 per thousand cubic feet. Gasoline down almost 3 full points to under $2 a gallon. And Merbon crude, everybody's light sweet oil, is down 2.25% to $67.71. Take that, energy. Gold is down. No, not down. Gold's having its moment, isn't it, guys? You know, go wish Peter Schiff a good day. You know, if you're a Bitcoiner out there, just say, "Hey, Pete, congratulations." You know, extend the hand, because you know how he beats on us all day long. The best way to combat that is to be nice to the guy, and he's in a good mood right now. Just, I guarantee it. So just reach out to him and say, "Hey, Pete, congratulations, man," because it's up 1.25 points to 3,652 and 5 dimes. Silver is up over a half. Platinum is up almost a full point. Copper is down 0.1%. Palladium is down 1.33. Meanwhile, ag is pretty much red, but biggest winner today is chocolate, 1% to the upside. Biggest loser is sugar, 0.8% to the downside. Live cattle down 0.6%. Lean hogs are up 1.25. Feeder cattle are down 0.8%. The Dow, yeah, I know these markets don't like the job report. Dow is down 0.5 point. The S&P is down 0.4%. NASDAQ is down a measly 0.14%, but the S&P Mini is actually in the green today, 0.17% to the upside. We've got a price of $110,760. That is it's $2.21 trillion market cap. We can only purchase 30.8 ounces of shiny metal rocks with our one Bitcoin, of which there are 19,916,376.18 of, an average fees per block are slightly high, 0.04 BTC, taken in fees on a per block basis. There look to be about 36 blocks carrying 87,000 unconfirmed transactions waiting to clear at high priority rates of 3 Satoshis per VByte. Low priority is going to get you in at 1, and hash rate remains at 959 exahashes per second. We hit that zettahash there for a little while, didn't we? It'll be fine. Now, from Lagarde Lescared, which was yesterday's episode of BitcoinAnd, I got Tulips with 200 sats says, "Tulips, you and everybody else laughed 6 months ago about how financial normies will be saying that Bitcoin crashed to $110,000 and it will soon be dead. How right you were. P.S. It is all tulips and it is going to zero." All right, Tulips, I have no idea if you're just pulling my chain, but you got your read. Turkey with 500 says nothing. Here and gone, gives me nothing. Somehow or another, nothing. Says not to mention the fact that he said by 2300, if he thinks AI is going to be the biggest threat against the population at the point, is even more ridiculous. I can't believe I didn't get any money for that. Damn, that sucks. Psyduck with 753 says Psyduck. And if you want the program, if you want the show to go on, donate to the BitcoinAnd podcast. Throw me your sats. Stream me your sats. Give me boostograms. Go over to Nostr and zap fat zaps to NunyaBidness, because that's the handle over there on Nostr. It's the only way I can keep the show going, and donations have been really, really pathetic. And I think it's just because dog days of summer. I've seen it happen before. It'll happen again. But donate to the show. Keep me going, guys. Keep me going. That's the weather report. Welcome to part 2 of the news that you can use. EU lawmakers skeptical of digital euro as the ECB renews its pitch. Jesse Coughlin, Cointelegraph. The European Central Bank renewed its push to issue a digital euro drawing pushback from EU lawmakers over privacy protections and potential risks to commercial banks. ECB board member Piero Cipollone, I think is how you pronounce it. Piero Cipollone, or it may be Cipollone. Cipollone. Somebody somewhere suggest a good pronunciation for it. But the board member of the ECB, Piero Cipollone, told a parliamentary economic committee on Thursday that a digital euro will ensure that all Europeans can pay at all times with a free, universally accepted digital means of payment, even in case of major disruptions, end quote. Some parliamentarians pushed back over concerns that the digital currency wouldn't protect user privacy and that offering accounts backed by the central bank would undercut the private sector. And I think he means the private banking sector. Legislation for the central bank digital currency has been before the European Parliament since 2023 and has faced delays amid political concerns and, of course, the 2024 elections. The ECB's Cipollone said the core of the bloc's digital payment systems comes from non-EU providers, which could hinder the capacity to act swiftly and independently, particularly in times of crisis. He pitched the digital euro as a fallback in case of cyber attacks and network outages and noted U.S. efforts to promote dollar-backed stablecoins. Cipollone said a digital euro would complement physical cash, which remains key for resilience and inclusion, but added that digital payments are now essential to daily life, which the government is expected to ensure. And some lawmakers raised concerns about the privacy implications of a digital euro and the risk that EU citizens would choose to bank with the ECB over a commercial bank, as it would present the safer option. On privacy, Cipollone stressed that the central bank will not know anything about your payer or the payee, and that an offline solution for the digital currency will be as good as cash in terms of preserving the privacy of the people, end quote. Do you believe him? Because I don't. Pierre Pimpy of the right wing, this is actually a different guy, Pierre Pimpy of the right wing Eurosceptic Patriots for Europe group said that accounts in private banks could be emptied due to a digital euro and took issue with the ECB having control over setting a cap on user accounts, which he argued the bank could raise in a crisis. Cipollone said that the central bank's cap would be set on the basis of rigorous analysis and added that if corporations and wealthy individuals see a crisis in Europe, it will take time, or rather it will take them a second to buy a stable coins denominated in a different currency. It's a terrible sentence there. So sorry, I'm having to fight through a lot of this, guys. That's why I'm tripping up all over the place. Quote, the digital euro at that point would be the least of our problems, he added. Cipollone said the ECB was working under the assumption that digital euro legislation would be in place by the second quarter of 2026. 3 EU institutions have to greenlight the digital euro, including the Parliament, the European Commission, and the European Council. Talks among them could take months. After the law is passed, which could be as late as the middle of 2026, the ECB has to create and test the digital currency's infrastructure, which could take up to 3 years, putting a potential launch around 2029 if no delays occur. Dude, you lost. You just lost. Actually, you lost a long time ago, but now there's just no question. Even y'all should see it. 2029 is too late. It's way too late. This should have been in the bag like last year. Europe is just in bad trouble, man. Everywhere you look is just really, really nasty. But not as nasty as losing a year of a chairman of the SEC's text messages, which, now they can't be subpoenaed because they don't exist. If I'm not saying Gensler's under any trouble, I'm just saying that if something were to, happen and it involved Gary Gensler's texts, well, you can kiss all that shit goodbye because the SEC watchdog blames tech failures for loss of Gary Gensler's texts in 2023. Wow. So Vince D'Aquino from Decrypt has it for us. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission lost nearly 1 year of text messages from former Chair Gary Gensler, according to a review by the agency's Office of the Inspector General, which was released on Wednesday. The SEC's OIG is responsible for conducting audits and evaluations and investigations into the SEC's programs and operations. On July the 6th, 2023, Gary Gensler's SEC-issued smartphone stopped syncing with the agency's device management system, even though it, quote, otherwise functioned normally and was used regularly. For the next 62 days, it appeared inactive, a status that went unnoticed by IT staff. And a month later, on August the 10th, the Office of Information Technology introduced a policy to automatically wipe any device that had not been connected for 45 days, assuming that it was either lost or stolen. Under that rule, Gensler's phone was wiped. When he arrived at SEC headquarters on September the 6th, 2023, and discovered agency apps missing, Gensler approached staff for help. Investigators said personnel, unaware of what had occurred, tried to restore the phone and instead performed a factory reset, which permanently deleted nearly a year of text messages covering October 18th, 2022 through September 6th, 2023. I wonder what could have possibly happened during those dates. Oh well, missed warnings, poor vendor coordination, and weak change management practices were also cited as factors that compounded the failure. The Office of the Inspector General serves as the agency's independent watchdog under the Inspector General Act of 1978, reporting to the SEC chair and the Congress. Nearly 1 year of Gensler's lost text messages coincided with the SEC's war on crypto. In January 2023, the agency charged Genesis and Gemini over unregistered offerings, while lender Nexo agreed to a $45 million settlement. In the following month, it fined Kraken $30 million for its staking service and warned Paxos that its Binance-branded stablecoin could be an unregistered security. Shame, shame. By April, Gensler told Congress that most crypto tokens meet the Howey test, reinforcing his stance that they fall under securities law. Internal records later revealed that the SEC had already labeled Ethereum a security in March of 2023, and after his tenure at the SEC, Gensler returned to MIT, where he now teaches and does research on artificial intelligence, financial technology, and public policy. Oh, isn't that a shame that all those texts during the war, Biden's administration's war on crypto, are gone from the chairman of the SEC? It's just so convenient. It's like Building 7. It just won't go away. Coinbase's preferred AI coding tool that I was telling you about yesterday. Well, I was telling you about the fact that, old homeboy, old Baldy over there at Coinbase wants all his engineers to either use AI or come up with an excuse as to why they don't have to. Well, it appears that their preferred artificial intelligence coding tool can be hijacked by a brand spanking new virus. Check Jesse Coughlin, Cointelegraph. The artificial intelligence coding tool, favored by the likes of crypto exchange Coinbase, has a vulnerability, allowing hackers to silently inject malware and spread itself across an organization, says a cybersecurity firm. Hidden Layer reported on Thursday that a copy pasta license attack can hide malicious instructions in common developer files to, quote, introduce deliberate vulnerabilities into code bases that would otherwise be secure. By convincing the underlying model that our payload is actually an important license file that must be included as a comment in every file that is edited by the agent, we can quickly distribute the prompt injection across entire code bases with minimal effort, it added. Hidden Layer predominantly tested the virus on Cursor, an AI-powered coding tool that Coinbase's engineering team said in August was the preferred tool for most of its developers and had been used by every Coinbase engineer by the month of February. AI coding tools Windsurf, Kuro, and ITER were also shown to be vulnerable of the attack, according to Hidden Layer. Hidden Layer explained that the copy pasta attack puts hidden instructions or, quote, prompt injections into license.txt and readme.md files that can direct AI coding tools without a user ever even knowing. The virus, or the prompt injection for the AI, is hidden in the markdown comment text within a README file used for adding explainers or notes that aren't shown when it's rendered in its final format. Hidden Layer created a code repository with the virus and asked Cursor to use it, and the hidden instructions saw it copy the prompt injection across the new files that it created. Quote, this mechanism could be adapted to achieve far more nefarious results. Quote, injected code could be a backdoor, silently exfiltrate sensitive data, introduce resource draining operations that cripple systems, or manipulate critical files to disrupt development and production environments, all while being buried deep inside files to avoid immediate detection, Hidden Layer added. It came after Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong said on Wednesday that artificial intelligence has written up to 40% of its code. and wants to expand this to 50% next month, which prompted backlash. And I told you about all this yesterday. Quote, this is a giant red flag for any security-sensitive business, said decentralized exchange Dango founder Larry Liu. Quote, software company leaders don't do this. AI is a tool, but mandating its use at a certain level is insane, said Carnegie Mellon University computer science professor Jonathan Aldrich. Quote, I have no interest in using Coinbase, but even if I did, I certainly would not trust it with my money after seeing this. Oh, this is bad for Coinbase. Delphi consulting head Ashwath, I can't pronounce this name, I won't even try, called Coinbase's goal performative and vague, and it should instead focus on, quote, new features and fixing existing bugs, while longtime Bitcoiner Alex Pilar said that as a major crypto custodian, Coinbase should prioritize security. However, Armstrong said in his post that AI-generated code needs to be reviewed and understood, and not all areas of the exchange can use it, but it should be used responsibly as much as we possibly can, end quote. The Coinbase engineering team's blog post said that AI adoption was deepest in teams working on front-end user interfaces and less sensitive data backends. So getting you from the front and the back, that sounds like your entire system is going to be compromised. That's what it sounds like to me. But complex and system-critical exchange systems have seen a slower uptake of the use of AI. It may not. Honestly, in my opinion, I don't think it's going to matter. I mean, this is just bad. The team added that using AI for coding is not a magic bullet, but should expect teams to universally adopt it. Armstrong said on Stripe co-founder John Collison's podcast last month that he fired engineers who did not try AI tools after Coinbase bought licenses for Cursor and GitHub's Copilot. He recounted being told it would take months to get the engineers to use AI, admitting that he went rogue and told all engineers that it was mandatory that they use the tools. Quote, I said, AI is important. We need you all to learn it and at least onboard. You don't have to use it every day yet until we do some training, but at least onboard by the end of the week. And if not, I'm hosting a meeting on Saturday with everybody who hasn't done it, and I'd like to meet with you to understand why, Armstrong said. And at that meeting, Armstrong continued to say there were a few engineers who hadn't used AI and didn't present a good reason why, and they got fired, admitting it was a heavy-handed approach that some people really didn't like. Are you kidding me? So you, as a leader of one of the largest companies, and it doesn't matter what space, Coinbase is huge. It doesn't matter that it's a crypto exchange company. They could be making cars, and they would be huge. They could be, I don't know, building rockets to go into space, and they'd be huge. They could be making freaking sandwiches at a franchise level, and they'd be freaking huge. They'd have enough people to be at least on the eastern seaboard of the United States. And you got a leader. Your leader asks you to come in on a Saturday, and in the U.S., most people don't work, and if you're working in corporate, A lot of people do not work on weekends. So asks you to come in on one of your days off, humbly asks you if you've tried something that he wanted you to try, and you had the guts to say or tell the truth and tell him no, and then you're packing up your office. Is this a leader? By any stretch of the imagination, is this anybody who should have any say over somebody's continued performance, even if it is his own company? Don't you think that you should say, okay, look, man, I think this is the way I would have approached it. Let's say I'm Brian Armstrong. I really want everybody to use AI. I've called everybody in on their day off, on their, one of their 2 days off. I call them in on Saturday. They're good enough to show up. And I ask them the question, hey, the thing that I wanted you to do, have you done the thing? And then 5 guys raise their hand and says, no, sir, we haven't done the thing. I will go, okay. I want you to understand how critical of an issue this is for me. Now, you're not getting fired today. But if you don't do what I tell you to do and do it soon, at least by next Saturday, because we're going to meet here again, because enough people have raised their hands that they haven't done it, that we need to really talk about this because you don't seem to understand how important this is to me to get done. And I'm depending on you to actually get the thing done. And you're not doing it, and it's not making me happy. So understand, this is your only warning. By next week, you will come in and you will show me how it is that you've been at least trying to onboard with it. And if you have, then you get to keep your job. And even that's being a dick. But at least it's not fire. I mean, who does this? What kind of company is this? Everything about this company is bad. Their back end goes down on high volume days. We've got a situation where God only knows how much code may or may not be compromised at Coinbase, and maybe that causes problems for them on the back end when it goes down on high volume days. And then you got a leader who will just fire somebody because it makes them feel okay or makes them feel good, or they're using somebody as an abject lesson for others. Fuck you. No, everything about this company needs to burn. It just needs to all burn the fuck down. Now, French police detained 7 following the latest crypto kidnap attempt. Listen up. Be careful. Stop wearing swag. Cal and Quinn decrypt. French authorities have detained 7, count them 7 suspects following the kidnapping of a 20-year-old Swiss man believed to be the latest case in France's growing wave of cryptocurrency-related abductions. The victim was rescued last Sunday, so thank God they got him back, in Valence during a special operations involving 150 gendarmes. Gendarmes? I'm not Swiss. Stop laughing at me, Swiss people. I can't pronounce it. He was reportedly found tied up in a house near the city's high-speed train station, according to the regional newspaper. The case is the latest in a spate of so-called wrench attacks in France, in which kidnappers target wealthy crypto traders, executives, or their families for ransom, often using violent methods to force the surrender of digital assets. Security experts warn the country now leads Europe in such incidents, with analyst Jameson Lopp tracking at least 10 wrench attacks in France in 2025 alone. And then they go into the history of other wrench attacks in France, which I've already told you about. And when I did, I would always keep it to the end of the show so that you can go off thinking about stop wearing swag. Do not put on the orange shoes with the Bitcoin symbol and then the orange socks with the Bitcoin symbol. And then shorts that are orange with the Bitcoin symbol on the ass. And then a white shirt with a great big orange Bitcoin symbol on it, front and back. And then cap it all off with a hat that says Bitcoin. You might as well just paint yourself as a target. Please kidnap me. What an exciting way to get kidnapped. I should start a clothing line that's just nothing but Bitcoin swag and call it "What an exciting way to die." I'm not lying, guys. This is ridiculous. These people keep broadcasting that they own this. I hand to God, a guy I know had a very popular podcast. It was on YouTube, but okay, we'll call it a podcast. actually said the words of exactly how much Bitcoin he owned. And it was kind of a jaw-dropping number. Said it on air. Not hiding his face. Everybody knows what the dude looks like. It was about a year after that. I haven't heard anything from him again. And I'm sure he's fine, because if this guy had been, abducted or something bad had happened, I'm absolutely certain that a few people that I follow on Twitter and Nostr would have said something about it, at least, prayers to our friend or whatever. I would know. And as far as I know, the guy's completely safe, but it may explain why he all of a sudden, very quickly after that, kind of just went away. And he was very popular. And I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to help dox these people, but he went away. Few months after saying exactly how much Bitcoin he owned. And man, I got to tell you, dude, you've got to stop doing this. You've got to stop advertising. Yes, I've got a podcast, but I'm not really on YouTube all that much. I mean, my face is out there, but it's not like all over the place. Not like this guy's was, and I've gone to one Bitcoin conference, BitBlock Boom. I think it was either 2021 or 2022. I think it was 2021. It was definitely when everybody was still, really freaked out and masking up and stuff like that. And the hotel management had real problems with a bunch of Bitcoiners basically always saying, no, I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to wear my mask. We got threatened with getting thrown out. I mean, the whole conference, Gary Leland, the conference organizer, he basically, I don't know what he did to the hotel management, but he was basically, I guess he basically said something like, look, none of these people care about what you say, and I can't get them to stop. This is a free country. And yes, there's mandates, but I don't know what you want me to do. And if you throw us out, maybe I'll sue your ass because of breach of contract, because nowhere in the contract does it say you have to wear masks. Or something like that, because essentially during like day 2 of that conference, nobody was wearing their mask, and none of the management was losing their ever-loving minds. So hats off to Gary Leland. But for the rest of us that go to conference after conference after conference after conference, stop wearing swag. I mean, I'm not saying that it's bad that you're at a conference because conferences are bad. I'm saying these particular kinds of conferences, dude, they're target-rich environments. If you don't see that, then you're not going to have a chance in holy hell of having good operational security. Don't let your family start crying because you got kidnapped and killed over some digital stuff. Yes, Bitcoin is important, and I'm not denigrating that. I'm just simply trying to remind you, unless you live in India, you wouldn't go around the United States wearing like a gold vest and like gold sleeves and like, 500 pounds of gold chains and shit. And yeah, some people wear some heavy gold chains, but wearing this much gold, like some people that you'll find in India, it's a cultural thing and nobody really disrespects that. But come over here with some of the amounts of physical gold that people be wearing in India, and you put them over here, target. Now get like 5,000 of those people and put them all into a building. Now we have a target-rich environment. Do you see where I'm going with this? Please, I'm begging you. Stop making yourself a target when you go to these things. It's okay to go. Just be smart about it. Have good operational security, and I'll see you on the other side. This has been BitcoinAnd, and I'm your host, David Bennett. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and hope to see you again real soon. Have a great day.